Morris, how are you doing? It's been a long time, hasn't it? It's been a long time. I know we didn't get along very, very well, but I didn't really think we had any major problems. Unless, of course, you know what me and Scott talked about. Scott seemed to have had bigger problems with you guys than I did. But when he told me about them, I agreed with him. Nonetheless, apparently, you've written something very important, and I need to read the forward, right? This forward, at least, your forward, before I can move on. So I'll do that. Forward to the Other America by Morris Isserman. When Michael Harrington's The Other America, Poverty in the United States first appeared in bookstores in March 1962, its author had modest hopes for its success, expecting to sell at most a few thousand copies. Instead, the book proved a publishing phenomena, garnering substantial sales, 70,000 in several editions within its first year, and more than 1 million in paperback since then. Wide and respectful critical attention, and a significant influence over the direction of social welfare policy in the United States during the decade that followed. By February 1964, Business Week noted that The Other America is already regarded as a classic work on poverty. I need to stop. For some reason, as soon as I actually started reading the book, certain acknowledgments are literally stimulating my genital area. This happened since today when a police officer from the public transportation system was pinging me with his cell phone. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to continue. But I have to do something from now on. I need to notify or let you know that when somebody thinks it's arbitrarily acceptable to stimulate my genitals while I'm doing something, you need to know. See, right now it's supposed to be pleasurable, but I've spent several years with it being painful and excruciating and tormenting. And regardless of whether you would consider it pleasurable or painful, it's unacceptable. And you need to know that if I'm trying to do something and go about my life and somebody thinks it's acceptable to fuck with my genitals, that I would never accept that being done to anybody else under any circumstances. You have a right to say, lay off my fucking genitals. Anyway, I will continue. Time magazine later offered even more sweeping praise, listing The Other America in a 1998 article titled Required Reading as one of the 20th century's 10 most influential books, putting it in such distinguished company as Sigmund Freud's Civilization and Its Discontents and Alexander Solzhenitsyn's The Gulag Archipelago. Harrington's own knowledge of poverty was, for the most part, acquired secondhand, as he would recount in two memoirs, Fragments of the Century and The Long Distance Runner, an autobiography, 1988. Born in 1928 in St. Louis, the only child of loving and moderately prosperous parents of sturdy Irish Catholic lineage, educated at Holy Cross, Yale Law School, and the University of Chicago. He moved to New York City in 1949 to become a writer. In 1951, he joined Dorothy Day's Catholic worker movement as a volunteer at its soup kitchen. There he got to know a small subset of the nation's poor, the homeless male alcoholics of New York City's Bowery district. Within a few years, he left that Catholic worker and the Catholic Church and joined the Young People's Socialist League, the youth affiliate of the battered remnants of the American Socialist Party, a party then led by Norman Thomas. A tireless organizer, prolific writer, skillful debater, and charismatic orator, Harrington succeeded Thomas as America's best-known socialist in the 1960s, just as Thomas had succeeded Eugene Debs in that role in the 1920s. Socialism was never the road to power in the United States, but socialist leaders such as Debs, Thomas, and Harrington were, from time to time, able to play the role of America's social conscience. In the years since Harrington's death from cancer in 1989, at the age of 61, no obvious successor to the post of Socialist Tribune in the Debs-Thomas Harrington tradition has emerged. Harrington's most famous appeal to the American conscience, The Other America, was a short work, 186 pages in the original edition, with a simple thesis. Poverty in the affluent society of the United States was both more extensive and more tenacious than most Americans assumed. The extent of poverty could be calculated by counting the number of American households that survived on an annual income of less than $3,000. These figures were readily available in the census data, but until Harrington published The Other America, they were rarely considered. But Harrington Harrington revealed to his readers that an invisible land of the poor, more than 40 million strong, or 1 in 4 Americans at the time, fell below the poverty line. For the most part, this other America existed in rural isolation and in crowded slums where middle-class visitors seldom ventured. That the poor are invisible is one of the most important things about them, Harrington wrote in his introduction in 1962. They are not simply neglected and forgotten as in the old rhetoric of reform. What is much worse, they are not seen. Was that what you would consider to be below the poverty line? Part 1.